Sign Language by Stephanie Stuckey. When my grandfather, W.S. Stuckey, started selling pecans, pecan log rolls, and other roadside treats made by my grandmother Ethel and her bridge club, along Route 1 in Eastman, Georgia, he'd watched enough cars go by to come up with a bright idea. He needed a sign to tell drivers what they were missing. Thus, outside the wooden shack in which he offered his wares, the first Stuckey sign was born. The scripted logo and the care with which it was drawn called to road-weary travelers, "Stop here at this mini oasis." Maybe it's my connection to this history, but I love a good sign. Even the word sign has multiple meanings that I appreciate. A sign can be as simple as a physical board with handwritten messaging or advertising on it, or it can be a good omen or a gesture, or it can be the act of finalizing a deal. Just sign on the dotted line. But signs, for me, the ones that promote businesses and organizations specifically, are more than just a name and identity of a business. They also serve as signals of pride, purpose, and possibility. Springing from that first roadside shack, the Stuckey's roadside oasis empire once amounted to over 360 stores across the U.S., and along with the stores themselves, there were the billboards telling families that it was only 50 miles to pecan log rolls, Dunkin' bird toys, and talkin' mynah birds. My fascination with signs is also evident when I'm home in Atlanta. The city too busy to hate, the city in the forest. Every day is opening day. Atlanta has been known by many monikers and phrases since its founding in the mid-19th century, and it's reflected in the signs you'll find all over Metro Atlanta, but specifically in the dense downtown area. Some of my favorite business, church, and organization signs in downtown Atlanta represent a crossroads of commerce, religion, race, and community. And yes, hope. Let's start in the Old Fourth Ward, home of the historic Martin Luther King District. At the corner of Auburn and Jackson, you'll find the Ebenezer Baptist Church, founded in 1886 and relocated to its current site in 1914. Ebenezer played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement, serving as both a sanctuary and a rallying point for justice. The neon sign hanging from its entrance captures the jazz and gospel soundtrack of the movement, during which Stuckey's was considered a safe roadside stop for Black travelers in the South. And that sign is shown as a beacon of progress since 1956, marking the spiritual home of Dr. King, who co-pastored here with his father. And it remains a powerful symbol of faith, resilience, and social change in the heart of Atlanta. The sign, by the way, was restored in 2002, preserving its historic glow for future generations. But even before the Ebenezer sign, a couple of blocks north and west on Auburn Avenue, Big Bethel's lighted cross bore the message emblazoned on churches across the South: Jesus saves! You can almost hear rhythmic gospel music blaring when you see it. Installed in 1922, it can still be easily seen from the Interstate 7585. For over 100 years, it's lit the way for parishioners, drivers, and pedestrians alike seeking peace and sanctuary. Speaking of civil rights, just down Auburn Avenue, you'll find the Prince Hall Masonic Grand Lodge, a U.S. National Historic Site. The 1940 building is currently being given new life thanks to a $1.5 million gift from the Arthur M. Blank Foundation, and that restoration includes its stylish and proud neon sign sporting aqua lettering and the Freemason triangle, Prince Hall, free and accepted Masons. The sign and the building mark the spot where John Wesley Dobbs was known as the Grand, and outside of which he preached bucks, ballots, and books, his motto that would lift Black citizens. The lodge is also the former home of Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the site of the first Black-owned radio station. A few blocks southwest of Prince Hall on Edgewood Avenue, the municipal market has been a hub of activity for over 100 years. Sometimes referred to as the Atlanta Curb Market, the name a relic of time when the black vendors had to sell their wares from the curb. The municipal market houses 30 food and drink businesses. Some of them, Grindhouse Killer Burgers, Bell Street Burritos, and Arepa Mia, got their start at the market. Just walking through, you get a smell of fresh fish, hot from the oven, ethnic fare, and delicious coffee and sweets. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens called this hub of flavor and neighborhood soul a community institution. With that in mind, I, for one, think the bold, all-caps, bright red, neon, municipal market sign says it all. Atlantans are proud of their history, and the market is here to stay for new generations to come. Continuing west for several blocks, where Edgewood meets Peachtree, if ever a sign captured Atlanta's bright and bold history, it's the Coca-Cola sign that sits atop the historic Olympia building. Big, red, round, and always shining. The sign is a key part of our downtown's identity and overlooks the absolute center of the city, 5 Points, where 5 street routes come together. Trust me when I tell you that Coke was an inspiration for my grandfather's ambitious business dreams. Coke was invented by a pharmacist, John Stith Pemberton. On May 8, 1886, he carried a jug of the new product syrup to Jacob's Pharmacy in downtown Atlanta, where it was mixed with carbonated water, sampled, and immediately put on sale for 5 cents a glass. That pharmacy was also in the 5 Points area. A historical marker highlights the legacy of the site, where today, Georgia State students hustle by going to and from class, and commuters bustle along heading to and from work. And just a stone's throw away from the literal birthplace of America's favorite soft drink, nestled on its perch, the iconic Coca-Cola sign serves as a beloved Atlanta landmark, tourist destination, and Instagram hotspot. Coca-Cola refurbished the Neon Spectacular with a new energy-efficient digital display in 2019 that will keep it shining bright into the future. But I like small businesses too, as did my grandfather, even and especially the ones that are no longer with us. The Majestic Shoe Repair sign is a great example, where Atlanta history meets sensible business service needs. A fixture on Broad Street starting in 1951, the store is long gone, leaving the blinking icon as the sole survivor, and a remnant of a time long before so-called shoe drops drew impossibly long lines to stores. Back in the time of Majestic, people just needed their shoes fixed so they'd last longer. There are several signs on the outskirts of downtown that also capture my imagination, especially when you reach the intersection of Peachtree and Ponce and travel east. For instance, you can't miss the Kodak building on Ponce, that unmistakable structure where the Kodachrome colors meet urban decay. The building sits next to the historic Atlanta Eagle, a gay bar that was the site of a controversial police raid in 2009, and atop it blazes with classic, rather rusty red and yellow Kodak logo. But something about the typeface gives it an official stamp of approval. The Kodak building was originally built in 1951 as a camera shop called Star Photo, but after Kodak took over, they installed the sign. The building is empty now and was damaged by fire in 2024, but it's also, ironically, a popular Instagram spot. Perhaps it will one day serve as the site of a Kodak apparel store, a concept that in recent years has become popular in South Korea. Catty corner from the Kodak building, I can practically smell the sugary siren call of hot now. The vintage Krispy Kreme sign on Ponce is a slice of Atlanta history, lighting up the streets since the shop opened in 1965. And of course, it's complemented by the sweet smell of fried donuts and that decadent gooey glaze. Beloved as a classic Atlanta landmark, the sign survived 2 devastating fires in 2021 that temporarily closed the store. The building has been restored under the ownership of NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal. For generations, this sign hasn't just signaled fresh donuts, it has been a wayfinder for comfort, nostalgia, and late-night cravings. Back on Peachtree and Ponce, you might think you've been transported to New York's Broadway. The Fox Theater's iconic vertical sign, blazing FOX in bold lights, is one of Atlanta's most photographed landmarks. But it nearly disappeared in the 1970s when the theater faced demolition. A massive grassroots campaign called Save the Fox rallied locals, raising enough money to rescue the building and restore the sign to its original 1929 glory. Architecturally, the sign blends Art Deco flash with Moorish revival flair, mirroring the theater's over-the-top atmospheric interior. Urban legend says the sign's glow once guided pilots towards Atlanta, like a retro neon North Star. If you head back to the south side of downtown on Memorial Drive, look for the Bluebird. The Bluebird sign, that is. It has been renovated and perched on the building that houses the Alpha Bonding Company. But in 1939, the sign was one of 3 giant neon Bluebird signs, 2 on the roof that announced your arrival at the truck stop called the Bluebird Service Center. Next, let's head to downtown's Hotel Row, an area once seemingly forgotten, but now packed with progress. The classic Sylvan Hotel sign marks the spot where Atlanta Tech Village has opened its second location. And next door, one of my favorite signs belongs to Spiller Park Specialty Coffee. Although the coffee shop's 4th location and its sign are new, opening in 2024, the style of the sign is reminiscent of a time when downtown Atlanta bustled with foot and horse traffic. Like a good sign, it also provides hope. What new stories will take place on the row? Nearby, we're seeing even more positive symbols of change and evolution downtown. Centennial Yards, a mixed-use 50-acre development in the Gulch, announces its presence with a logo and visual identity that pays homage to the city's history as the terminus of a rail line and then a railroad hub. But Centennial Yards is looking to the future, as their vision statement attests, to revitalize the heart of Atlanta by building a community that showcases our culture to the world and provides opportunities for Atlantans to thrive. There are a bevy of examples of progress downtown, like recent renovations to the state capitol, including a refresh of the layer of gold on its famous dome, the overhaul and the transformation of the 5 Points MARTA station, and the resurgence of underground Atlanta and Woodruff Park. All of this points to a new wave of activity, creativity, and community building happening downtown. In fact, it reveals the most telling sign of all: big things are coming our way. New legacies, opportunities, and commerce in Atlanta. Always the city too busy to hate, it is also an ascendant cosmopolitan center for the 21st century. Which brings me back to the signals in every sign: pride, purpose, and possibility. It makes me wonder what's next. Like Stuckey's own revival of a nostalgic brand for modern times, which dreamer, entrepreneur, artist, or community leader will step forward to help our city reinvent itself and change the way we live, think, see, and experience the world? I'll be looking for the signs.